Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you're all doing well. My name is Kim and welcome to Uncommonkim. So this is my April TBR. Before we get into that, I thought I'd briefly go over what I read in March. I had a really good reading month in March. I think I read 11 books total, which is, I'm just really happy with that. I did have a lot of time off, mind, so that's probably why, but I'm still really happy with it. A lot of fantasy, and that is continuing into April because April is Realmathon and I am in Team Enya, so I am in the fantasy team hosted by Becca and Kaylee. Also, the main host of the readathon is Cassidy from Covers of Cassidy. And I'm so excited. I took part last year and I'm taking a part again this year. I loved it last year. And I read a lot last year, I remember, and I'm really excited. I have in front of me my bullet journal. So basically I've made a journal spread for Realmathon. Basically for this page, for example, I have all the prompts written down and then my TBR and then the other things I can earn points from. And then I've created this graph with all the books that I want to get to and how many points I get for Realmathon. So as I go through each individual book, I will also go through how many points that will get me for Realmathon. This is for all of the other Team Enyas. If you want a buddy read or anything, give me a shout, I'm down. But also for everyone else, if you want to steal a book from my TBR. So let's get into it. Okay, so the first book on my TBR is The Poppy War, which funnily enough was also on my TBR for last year's Realmathon, and I never got to it, and I really wanted to read it ever since. So for this I will be getting prompts for it being a fantasy, because if you read your team's genre you automatically get 10 extra points. I will also receive 20 points for the page count, because this book is a chunky boy, 530 pages, so I get an extra 20 points for that. And then the 4 current prompts that I have for this is a audiobook, a TBR vet, title movement, and I've stolen it from somebody else's TBR. So yeah, I'm really excited to get to this. I'm planning to read this quite early on in April, but we will see. I will be doing a vlog, probably for each week, just to show what I read. If you're interested in that, let me know. But yeah, that's book number 1. Book number 2 is Serpent and Dove. I have a funny feeling this might have been on my TBR last year as well. I can't remember. But this, the reason I've been wanting to read this is because one of my good friends, Danny, also read this, and her, myself, and our friend Amy have a book club together. The book club is called the House of Wind Book Club, obviously. And basically probably every 2 months we choose a book each that we would like the other 2 to read, and we have one buddy read. And this was chosen by Danny back in, I want to say January, and I just haven't got to it yet. So I really want to read this month, get this out the way before our book club meeting midway through April. So again, for this I get an extra 10 points for it being a fantasy. I also get an extra 20 points for the page count. So the page count is around 500 pages. I also get an extra 10 points for having a subgenre. So also if your book has a subgenre, you get an extra 10 points. So this is a fantasy romance, so I do get the extra 10 points for that, which is great. And then the other prompts that this fulfills is buddy read, obviously because I'm reading it with my friends, multiple POV, new author, comfort zone, and it spells my name. It might not be obvious, but I promise you there is a K in here somewhere. There, it says New York. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. It's going to focus on my face. New York bestseller seller, so New York, K, and then there is an I on here somewhere too. Oh, I suppose again down the bottom of New York Times, and then also in the word Times is an M. I know it's crafty, but I'm counting it. And that's Kim. So yeah, hopefully we'll get to this soon, fingers crossed. The next book I want to read is Ruin of Kings. Chonky boy, absolutely chonky, but I've heard a lot of great things about this series, mainly from Jade from Jade Ray Reads. She read this series years ago and I've been watching her vlogs for so long, and I remember her absolutely loving it, so I'm really excited to read this. So for this book, obviously again extra 10 points because it's a fantasy. I also get an extra 30 points for the page count. So this book is 550 pages. Is big. And then the rest of the prompts I receive is multi POV, new author, spells my name. Do I need to show? Yeah, go on. There's a big K there. And then there's an I. And then where is the M? Oh, at the top in the corner there's an M. Again, cheeky, but there's not many books that actually have a K in the title. Everything else has an I and an M, but there's never many with a K. So I'm taking it. And then there is also a map, and this is also a buddy read. Kaylee from Kaylee's Books let me know on the Realmathon Discord that there is a joint buddy read on the Discord for this series, so I've decided to take part in that. So I'm really excited to start that. Again, I think it'll be another one I read quite early on in the month. I want to try and get all the chunky boys done first. Okie dokie. Where is it? Okay. So the next book on my TBR is Ashes of the Sun, which, again, very excited to read. I've heard a lot of great things. This is also a host fave, which is one of the prompts. I can't remember whose. I'll put it here. There we go. The other prompts I've got for this is a source of light. That is a sun, which is a source of light. It also says sun. I'm counting it. Weather, sun. New author, and I can't remember what those. I've written 3 digits, like 3 numbers, no letters, and for the life of me I could not tell you what they stand for. Why have I done this to myself? MHR. Mental health rep. Mental health rep. There we go, my fellow friends. Mental health rep. Also get an extra 10 points for being a fantasy. I get an extra 10 points for subgenre. I cannot remember what somebody said it comes under, but it definitely has a subgenre. I will leave it here. And then an extra 20 points for the page count, because this book is, does that say 550? Well, that's acknowledgements. No, we don't want that. No, come on. 527. So, happy days. Excited to read this one. The next one is The Great Hunt. I don't know if I'm looking forward to this. So I'm currently reading I'm currently reading The Eye of the World, and I can't say I'm enjoying it. I'm probably 250 pages in and I'm very bored. And so I've been told by Cassidy it doesn't improve. This is also boring. So whether I actually get to this or not, we will see, but I'm putting it on here anyway because I really want to take part in the read along, but I'm falling behind a bit because everyone's now should have read this for the read along and they're on to the third book. But it's okay because if I can read this in April, read the third one in May, I'm caught up. That's a big if, mind, but we can hope. So for this one I'm actually attacking instead of defending, so I will be getting minus points, 10 minus points because it's a fantasy. I'm getting 1 point for an audiobook, 4 points because it plays with time, 5 points, oh, I can't pronounce this word, I can't pronounce the word, but I'm basically going to say this isn't his real name. That's, if you know the word, you know the word. I'll put it here. I can't pronounce it. I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to leave it. And -5 for movement, because I think hunting is a movement. Tell me if I'm wrong. Which takes me to a total of -25. But I also get -30 for the page count. Happy days. I think I forgot to mention that basically all the books I spoke about so far are all defending, apart from the Poppy War and this book. These are the only two that are attacking, because I can't figure it out. Okay, the next book is The Promise of Blood. I'm quite excited to read this. This is for the Backlist Book Club, hosted by Cassidy, Mel, Bex and Kaylee. And this is the first book in the series, and we're going to be reading this in April, which is exciting. So this is obviously a fantasy, so we get +10 points for that. We then have +1 for a buddy read, +5 for a new author, +2 for multi-POV, +6 because it spells my name. Can't remember where though. There is a, I don't know why I thought I wanted to show you, but there's a K, there's an I, and there's an N. K-I-N. Kim. And a source of light, which is like here. So that is +30 points for this book, plus I get an extra 20 points for the page count, which is 548. Again, quite a chunky boy. But that's okay. Right. The next book, I know I have quite a big TBR, I do apologise. The next book I have on my TBR is Vengeful by Vengeful. I'm really excited to read this. I read Vicious in, I want to say January or February. I really enjoyed it. The ending as well, I was like, come on then. So very excited to read this. So again, it is a fantasy, so it is +10. Then we have emotion, because Vengeful is an emotion. I feel it all the time. It is also multi-POV, and also the author uses their initials. So that is a +21 points. I also get the 20 points for the page count, which is, if I can find it, 562. And then I also get +10 for the subgenre. Again, I can't remember what the subgenre was, but somebody told me on Discord. I'll put it here. I'm doing this a lot today. Okay. Next we have Before They Are Hanged by Joe Abercrombie. This is the second book in the First Lore series, which is also a part of the First Lore Along, hosted by Becca on Becca with Books. At Becca and the Books. Becca and the Books. I've decided to take part in this very last minute. I read the first book in this series at the very beginning of this month, and now I'm coming on to the second one. So for this I actually don't have many prompts, so if you guys know of any more prompts I could add to this, it'd be great, but currently don't have many. So I have +10 for it being a fantasy, +1 for it being a buddy read, and +2 for it being multi-POV. So I actually don't have any points at all. So it is +13 altogether, but I also do get an extra +20 for the page count, which is 570 pages. Happy days. So the next book is Belladonna. Again, this is another buddy read. This is a part of our House of Wind book club. This is Amy's choice for the 2 months just gone. I'm quite excited to read this because she talks about it all the time. So for this I get +10 for it being a fantasy. I also get a +5 for it being a new author, +1 for a buddy read, and +2 for my comfort zone because I'm nervous to read this because if I hate it, Amy might kill me. So altogether that is +18, and then for the page count I get an extra 20 points because it is 400 pages, and then I also get a +10 for the subgenre, which is romance. So it's another fantasy romance for my TBR. And then finally, the last book on my TBR is The Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. I've actually read this before, about 3 years ago, and I just want to continue with the series, but in order to do that I obviously need to reread. So I'm going to be rereading this for Realmathon. So obviously I get an extra 10 points for it being a fantasy, a +6 for being a host fave, a +5 for being a new author, which I know is tight because I have read this book before, but I don't remember anything about it, so it's like reading fresh new author. If I'm cheating, I don't care. And then +4 for mental health, because one thing I did remember about this is it being very depressing, so I am counting that. So that's 25 points for this book, plus an extra 10 points for the page count, which is pretty much 400 pages. So no, Robin, you stay there, my dear. Oh, hold on. This is ridiculous. Okay, so hold on. I can't do this right now. Oh my god. Okay, I'm there. So this is the TBR. I can't lift this. Oh, okay. So that's my TBR for April. It's a bit of a chunky boy, but that's okay. I obviously read 11 books in March, but like I said, I did have a lot of time off in March. I don't have any time off. Oh, I don't have any time off in April. So we'll see how I do. And I'm really bad at reading at work, so we'll see. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, tell me what you're reading in April, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye.